Today we're going to make some sauerkraut, and we have Holistic Hilda here with us. She came to visit from DC, and she's going to be working it with my wife, my beautiful wife Rachel, on how to make sauerkraut. And there you go.
Yeah. You guys, this is so easy. Making sauerkraut is so easy. Rachel just asked me, how long ago did you make it? And I was like, it's probably been a few years. But I remember, I just got with my friend, we chopped up the stuff, we pounded it, and boom. I don't know why I don't make it more, but I'm excited for those of you who are ready to roll up your sleeves and go for it. And we're going to have some fun together.
Yeah.
When was the last time you made sauerkraut?
So we have some in our fridge at all times. We have a red cabbage one, traditional. We tried an Old Bay for the first time. That just went in there. And then you can see we have some fermenting on our counter right now. So we try to keep a rotation going that we have some ready to go at all times. Because we put, you said, I think we learned you only need 2 tablespoons of it to get the nutritional or health benefits from it. So it's on the side of our dinner every single day. So,
do you know my story of when I ate too much of it and what happened?
No.
It's interesting because there's a brain-gut connection, right? And I don't know, I was just, in the mood. I was having a hot dog, probably organic and well-sourced and everything.
Right.
And I put sauerkraut on top of it, and that night I was like, I got really anxious. No, I got anxious. I said to my husband, I'm going to Haiti. I could die over there. Like, I started getting worried, and I'm not a worried kind of girl. I think it was something in that mix was too much for my system. So it's better just to have some at every meal or a little bit, but not to overdo.
Yeah. Try a little bit at first and then a little more and a little more.
All right. So how should we get started?
What I would like to do first is talk about the things that you need. So the first time I made this, I made it from the Nourishing Traditions cookbook, and I found out that there are some other tools that you can get that will actually make it easier for you. So what you're going to need, you need a head of cabbage. I like to put 1 carrot in it, cutting board, obviously, a knife, a nice big bowl. I prefer glass or stainless steel. And then salt, right? You can't make sauerkraut without salt. I like to use real salt. It's, what is it? Yeah, the Redmond's real salt is a great way to go. This one's the fine one. The Celtic sea salt is another good one. You cannot make it with regular table salt. It won't work. It won't work. So it has to be a sea salt that you're using when you make it.
You know what I heard recently is that regular table salt has sodium chloride. Right. Yeah, that is disgusting. But it has just sodium chloride. I mean, that's it. It may be 2 minerals, right? That's all there is. But real salt that's been less processed and done all those things done to it has like over 40 to 60 minerals in it. So it's amazing. So we want the real deal in this.
You want the real deal, otherwise it won't work. Right. And you'll just make mold instead of sauerkraut. So that, and then the other thing that you're going to need is this quart-size mason jar. And then the thing that I added that I learned from Rachel at the Sweet Farm, that's really where I learned and figured out some of my mistakes that I was making before I met with her, was that you can buy this kit. They're called mason tops, and the kit is going to come. There are these little glass weights, and we'll show you when we get into making it. But after you finish making it, you will actually put it in the top of your jar, and that way it holds everything down, so it will help to keep the mold out. It comes with the weight. It comes with these little, they call it an airlock. So it keeps I always mess this up. help me. It keeps the
CO2 the oxygen from getting it.
And then, and it comes with this tamper also, which you're going to really love because it's going to help you really mash all that stuff down. So I would highly recommend looking up. Their brand is Mason Tops. You can get a kit actually with just the airlocks and the weights. But I would just, spend the 10 extra bucks to get this tamper because it's a really useful tool.
Well, and it's beautiful. It makes you feel powerful. Like, And this makes me think Fiesta. It looks like a little sombrero.
Yes. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to peel my carrot first. So we like to compost in our family here. So I'm going to peel my carrot.
I'm going to do whatever you do. Hey, can you bring that over here so we can both peel?
Yeah, we can sure do that in the middle.
Because you guys, I have to be honest with you, the thing I make the most is the podcast.
Or a mess.
So, yeah, I make messes too.
So, we're going to peel the carrot.
I'm getting on my tippy toes so I can be as tall as Rachel.
I'm trying to make it in this basket. So, yeah, so we put all this stuff in here because it goes straight in the backyard to our chickens, and they eat all this stuff, and they love it.
Those chickens probably eat better than most people. I'm either a perfectionist or a little slower than you, by the way.
Okay. Maybe that peeler is not as good as the one that I have.
No, it feels really amazing, to be honest with you. Okay, I'm good now.
Okay, so you're going to peel your carrot, okay? And then I only have one of these guys. The next thing, well, you're going to cut the ends of your carrots off. So I gave you a knife over there, so you should be good to go. So just cut, well, I guess I didn't need to do both ends of it, but.
No, if you did, I do.
Well, I shouldn't have done that because then when I go to grate it, then I messed up. So you're going to take your carrot. Did you use 2 carrots when you made it before?
I think so.
You don't have to. I just think it adds color.
Yeah, it's nice.
It. So you're going to just grate your carrot into a bowl. Probably some of it's going to fly around everywhere. I only have one of these, sorry.
No, that's
I tried to double everything, but this is the one thing that I did.
No, you did amazing.
I'm
happy for you to do it.
We had little handheld ones, but they're not really as good. That one's not really as good. I'm almost done.
That's good.
When he does this and he just like puts it in fast forward and it's like zzz.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, so I shouldn't have cut the ends off because then
there's nothing to hold on to.
Right.
Rookie mistake.
Well, the truth is, since you were talking about how carrots kind of optional, like people can make the kraut, as you demonstrated in your fridge, almost any variety they want to. In other words, curtido is popular in El Salvador. You know, there are different parts of the world add different things to their fermented foods.
I'm just going to eat this because I messed it up. Here you go, your turn.
Oh, okay. Would you ever put tomatoes in yours, for example? I'm doing it the wrong way.
You can do it whatever way you want.
So, not tomatoes, but what other vegetables do you use?
You can do whatever, I guess. I don't know. Tomato is really a fruit, right?
Yeah. Would you put peppers?
You could. You could do cauliflower,
I've heard you can do almost anything.
You can.
There's some vegetables that are not as good. Like tomatoes wouldn't work. Or maybe they would, but they wouldn't maintain their firmness.
I have a list that was sent to me by the person I learned from that we could really.
What's cool about doing this, I know you're going to fast forward this piece, but I'll just say, is that if you've never made it before, there's a real sense of nourishment and accomplishment that comes from making something with your own hands. You know, like I have a friend who knits little winter caps or whatever, and I'm like, that is so cool. And she must feel especially pleased, like, oh my gosh, I made this. If she gives it to someone or whether she wears it herself, it's like a sense of, I created something, you know? And so it's the same with food that we make or, you know, kraut that we're going for.
Yeah, when we have people come over and we put out a roast chicken, you know, that we raise, it feels good.
So satisfying.
Yeah. Our favorite thing is when we can sit down at a meal and tell you exactly where every single thing came from. So,
that's amazing.
like the soup, I think the only thing in the soup that, like the sweet potatoes came from our local farmer, the garlic came from a local farmer, the onions came from a local farmer, the chicken came from us. The squash did not, but it could have. We had some last week from them, but we just. They're starting to slow down, so their market's only open like every other Saturday now.
Okay, I'll just eat this piece too.
Yeah. You know. Okay.
Oops. Might be little pieces of skin
okay.
in my kraut, especially full of protein.
Yeah, you don't want to put skin in there.
I'm just kidding. Okay. There.
All right, just toss that aside. Okay. So I'm going to move this over here. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this head of cabbage and we're going to get the core out because there's a part in the middle of it we don't need.
And I'm going to ask a silly question because I actually know this answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. Shouldn't we wash it first?
Well, I peeled layers off of it and I rinsed it, but you probably don't need to.
I've actually heard it's better not to.
You think it's better not to?
Because then you have like
more
the microbes and stuff. Yeah,
I peeled some layers off of it just because it was.
No, you did the right thing. But I mean, it's better not to wash it.
To wash it? Well, I also learned from Joel Salatin, there's a difference between washing and just putting water on it. Because he had a whole conversation about selling eggs. And there were people overseas that said, well, we can't sell eggs if they've been washed. Like, what if it's been rained on? And he's like, well, how is rain washing it? You know, like it's just water. Anyway, so you have a little bit of thing on the end there, but I'm just going to cut a little bit off the end. I don't know. Probably everybody has a different way that they would cut this core out. And then I'm going to just cut it in half. I guess, hopefully this is still good.
Using like the end as the top part?
No, I put the end down.
Okay, got you. Like
no, hold on.
Like this.
Like this. I thought you made this before.
my friend helped me. My friend helped me. I was like, okay, whatever you do, I'm doing.
So yeah, just cut like that. Okay, and so you can see when you cut it, if you look at this piece right here, this is the core, and you don't want to eat that. Okay, so some people will take it, and it's to each their own. Some people will take it and they'll do it this way and kind of cut a V. I don't like to do it like that. I actually will cut it one more time, and then I'll just go on an angle like this. And that's the easiest way I've found to do it. Okay. So, but if you want, you could do it the other way too.
On an angle.
Hold on, flip it this way. Oh no, she's right. She's right. Sorry. Yeah.
You just wanted to say no to me. It's like she's done it again. And you just take off
I think that's the easiest way, but I've seen people do it the other way too. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna again. I mean, you could try it. You could try it the other way on the other half. If you want.
Maybe I will.
Let's move this way. I just think this makes it easier when I go to cut all of it. So like that one, I didn't really cut it close enough. I got to do it again.
What happens if you leave it in?
I don't know. I think it's just, you don't want to eat it because it's really hard. I mean, yeah, don't you think that way's a little bit harder to do?
Yeah. It feels like surgery.
Okay. Oh, I got one more left to go. Thank you.
Okay, those are my scraps.
Take your mess and put it in here. You good?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
So when you do your kraut, you need salt to start that fermentation process, right? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take all, so this is amazing. This whole head of cabbage, this carrot is going to fit in this jar. It doesn't look like it would fit in there, but it will, okay? So when you do this, you need 1 tablespoon of salt for this entire thing. Now, some people add other seasonings too, and the general rule of thumb that I learned is that you're going to do 1 tablespoon of salt, and then whatever other seasoning you want, it would be 1 teaspoon of it. Really, like, a little bit goes a long way. So if you want to do a traditional one that has that caraway seed in there, you would just need 1 tablespoon of caraway seed. The one that we have going over there, I tried
teaspoon.
Did I say the wrong thing? Yeah. So 1 tablespoon of salt and then 1 teaspoon of whatever seasoning you want to add.
I'm not a big fan of the caraway seed, to be honest.
Me neither. I just like to do plain sea salt. So that one I tried ginger. I don't know. We never tried it before. We got one that has Old Bay going in the fridge. We haven't tried that before either. It's still cooling off in there. But yeah. So this is how I do it. And
we're gonna do the basic today.
Yeah, we're gonna just do basic sea salt. So the way that I learned best how to do this is you're gonna take your teaspoon, and this is my Redmond's real salt, and I'm gonna put it in these little bowls for us.
Oh, wait, I want to do my own.
Oh, you want to do it? Okay. Sorry.
You helped me so much, but I'm like, gotta prove to my family I know how to do this.
You can measure a teaspoon. I'm sorry, a tablespoon.
No, I'm just kidding. I think that's about right. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So you're going to do that tablespoon of sea salt, and then the easiest thing you're going to do, I just will take 1/4 of it. I'm going to cut 1/4 of it up, put it in it, and that way when I have this bowl, I'll sprinkle a little salt, cut up some more, sprinkle a little more, cut up some more, sprinkle a little more. So that way the salt kind of gets in all that layer. So when you do sauerkraut, right, and you break it up, the way that it works is that it creates lactic acid. And sometimes people get confused because it sounds like lactose, but it's not.
No, right.
Not the same thing. So that lactic acid is actually what keeps it fresh, and it keeps it from spoiling, and it's what's able to preserve it. I want to know who discovered this for the first time. Like, who thought if I just crush up this thing that it will keep?
I know. You know, it's kind of a mystery. I've discussed this with Sally Fallon Morell, the head of the Weston Price Foundation, because she says, where do these traditions come from, right? Like, they have to have been handed down somehow. We don't know, but it's a beautiful thing.
Yes. Okay. So let's start. So I'm going to just take this, and it doesn't even have to be super fine. I'm just going to cut it out into pieces.
I like how sharp your knives are, by the way.
That one actually is not sharp. I gave myself the good knife.
I know. I was like, why am I struggling so much? It's sharper than mine at home, though. I will say that.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be super fine.
Okay.
But
you chop it up.
Yep, you're going to just chop it up.
On the shows I watch, they go like this. You know what I mean?
I don't really know if that's right.
I don't really watch TV anyway, so I'm just kind of making it up right now.
I'm just going to scoop this and put this into my bowl. I don't know if you guys can see that bowl. And it's going to make a mess all over your hands and on your floor, but it's okay. Wouldn't it be fun if you weren't making
That's
a mess?
right. Okay. Feeling pretty good about
You're
mine.
good.
Okay.
So put that in your bowl. Don't cut yourself.
No, I'm not. I'll leave the knife aside.
And then I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see. So then I'm going to take this bowl. I don't want to use it all at once. I'm just going to sprinkle like just a little bit on it and then stop. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to take another piece,
okay.
chop it up, add that layer into the bowl. Probably there are chefs that would be like, how are you guys using those knives? You're cutting it wrong.
That's okay.
You don't have to do it right. You just have to cut it out.
I appreciate that.
Just do something if it's wrong.
Yes.
You never know. You might stumble across a technique that's better than what the professionals have come up with.
It blows my mind how all this fits in that one quart-size jar. And every time I think, there's no way this is going to fit. And then it does. So I added another layer. I know you're still cutting, but I'm going to
I'm still cutting. Go for it.
That's okay. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit more salt.
I was just thinking about when I made the kraut with my friend last time.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like we had out a little scale, and we were being like really exacting about stuff, and I don't know why.
You don't have to be exact. You just, if you follow that general rule of thumb and just have that 1 tablespoon of salt, because from what I learned, one of the most common mistakes of people that are new at making kraut is that they'll make it way too salty. But the good thing about it is that if you make that mistake, it can easily be fixed. So we can talk about that after we're done. Because when I first did this, I made it way too salty. And then the other common mistake is that people will end up with mold. And then there's also a way to fix that too. So
it's kind of a metaphor for life, you know?
Right?
Nothing is unfixable, in my opinion.
Sprinkle another layer of salt. Did you add more salt?
No, I haven't yet. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah.
I like what you said. There was something in one of your podcasts or a video, Hilda, when you were talking to someone, and the lady was like, well, what's the worst thing's going to happen? You're going to die?
Yeah.
And that's really not the end of things. That's just the end of your portion of things.
That's right. Oh my gosh, that's my friend Monica Ford.
Yeah.
She's a fermenter. She's a fermenter, yeah. And she's like,
she's probably going to watch this and tell me I'm doing it wrong.
No, she's so gracious and amazing. And that's exactly what she'd say. What's the worst thing that can happen? I'm going to die? Like, it's okay.
I think these bowls are smaller than the other ones I have, but it'll be okay.
Now, I have a question for you. Was sauerkraut the first thing you learned to make or ferment? Oh, no, it was kombucha, right?
I don't know. I think we started... I think we did kombucha first. So actually that's not necessarily true, because we started making creme fraiche a long time ago before we even knew this, and we didn't even realize that it was a fermented food. So creme fraiche we've done, kombucha, sauerkraut, and then sourdough bread. Oh, and I was making my own yogurt too. That's really simple. But I bought a yogurt maker because it really would tie up my stove for a long time. And that couldn't
I feel like
work.
This is still one of the guys that needs to go away.
You don't want that.
So creme fraiche, I was in France one time, and they served me some kind of desserty thing before I got into Wise Traditions. And I was eating the cream on the top, and I was like, this is sour. It's gone bad. Something's wrong. I didn't know. I think creme fraiche has that like soury taste, right? I didn't know what was going on.
So good.
I thought they must be giving me a hard time because I'm American. I'm a little bit behind you.
Here, do you want this knife?
That's a better knife, yeah.
No, don't hurt yourself on it.
Actually, I feel like this is an end guide too, isn't it?
Yeah.
doing fine. I'm doing
so
fine.
yeah, there's really no rules to this. You just chop it up as big or as small as you want. You don't have to put the carrot. You can if you want, but I just like it because I think it adds a little bit of color.
Yeah.
To your kraut. So.
And how long would you say you've been making kraut?
Probably just since the summer, and then ever since we learned how to do it, because I tried making my own, and then I wasn't having success with it. I was making those common mistakes that it was too salty or I was getting mold, and I didn't know how to fix it, so then we would just buy it. But then we went to a workshop, and we learned from, her name is Rachel, and she is one of the owners at the Sweet Farm in Woodsboro, Maryland. And she was awesome because she showed us what to do and answered our questions and showed us how to fix those errors.
Is it Rachel Bob?
I
know Rachel Bob who ferments stuff.
So once we met with her, we easily learned how to fix the things that we were doing wrong. And I'm like, wow, this really is so easy.
Now, do you think most people don't make theirs because they think it's too hard, or
I think time keeps people from doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Don't you agree? Like, we spend a lot of time in the kitchen, but we like being in the kitchen.
I also think it's a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
This is a simple thing, but you don't know.
Yeah. No, you don't know.
Right.
So you're just like, oh, I guess I'll just buy my cabbage or my
sauerkraut.
So
the other really cool thing that we learned from the Sweet Farm is that, how do I explain? She taught us that if you want to try to let your krauts go to different amounts of ferment time. So we have 2 jars fermenting on the counter right now. And if you let them ferment for different amounts of time, you're going to be getting different good bacteria from both of them that will give you different... do you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain it. So how do I say?
Could it ever be too long?
I don't think so. So she told us a story. What was they had radishes fermenting in 5-gallon buckets for probably 2 years or something ridiculous like that, and they're like, no, this isn't good anymore, we're going to get rid of it. And then they tried them again, and it was amazing. So that's what that lactic acid will do. It will keep it from spoiling. So as long as all of this is under liquid and the oxygen can't get to it, then it's going to keep for a really long time. So when we learned how to do this, we learned that, and I think that's another mistake I was making when I was just using the cookbook, in that I wasn't letting it ferment long enough. So what we learned is that something magical happens at week 7.
Oh, week 7.
Yes. So we let ours go for 7 weeks, and if we have more than one going on the counter at the same time, we will let one go for 7, leave the other one out while we're doing that one, because if you have them going for different weeks, then they're going to have different good bacteria in it, and you'll get different good bacteria in your gut. Am I explaining that the right way? I don't know how else to explain it.
No, it's good. That's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, this is compost.
Yeah, you're fine. Okay. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to get your hands dirty. Literally, you're just going to dive in, and you're going to use your fingers to just mash it all up the best you can. Okay?
I remember this part.
So now, the cool part about this is, so you want to do this until you start to see
some liquid, right?
A liquid at the bottom. Then what I like to do is let the salt do the work. So if you start doing this and you get a little bit of liquid at the bottom, which I wish I had bigger bowls. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I have one bowl that's way bigger, but then once you see that liquid on the bottom, then you can just take a break and let the salt do the work. So sometimes I'll do this, and then I'll walk away for half an hour, and then that salt just does magic, and will create more liquid in it, and then you don't have to really do as much work.
Well, and I like that you use the word magic, because I feel like there's something special about this that we do a bit, and then nature kind of takes over. It's kind of like the farmer when he plants his crops. Like, he can do certain things, but he has to let the sun and the rain
Right.
You know what I mean?
Nature
Come
will
in
do
and
its
the
thing.
soil, yeah.
Yeah, so you just really want to squeeze this as hard as you can.
I'm trying to get poetic and
And you can
she's
break it.
focused. Right? Hey, yours is so pretty. It looks like yours has more carrot.
Try
Oh,
to
you're
mix
mixing it up
from
more.
the bottom.
Okay.
I'm literally throwing this all over the place. But.
It's about time because I was like, my side is so messy and Rachel's is so neat. I was like, something's wrong. Ah!
I know. Get yourself a bigger bowl. We have one really big bowl, but I secretly wanted the bowls to match so that we could be twins.
I do
so
too. I love
that.
twinning.
I don't have any liquid on the bottom yet, so.
Where's the liquid coming from?
It's from the cabbage. The liquid literally is coming out of this vegetable, and that is what's going to keep it. Yeah, I just want to know who discovered this a long time ago, that if I just squeeze this, then it's going to release some acid from it. And I also learned that, so again, you only need 2 tablespoons of this a day to get the health benefits from it. And those 2 tablespoons have more probiotics in it than if you were to take like a supplement.
I know, it's so funny. I have to be honest with you. I used to, early in my journey, take a probiotic supplement, just a random one. I was thinking, oh, I'm doing so much good for my gut, and I didn't know that secret that you just shared. That real food often has everything we need.
Yeah. Not to say that those are bad.
Right. No, there's a
sometimes
place for that.
People
I know.
need them, but you can get more probiotic goodness out of this than you can from something that you could buy at the store.
Rachel, stop for a second and check out your dog. Look at your dog for a second.
She's sleeping?
I was trying to switch bowls on you. She's like, what?
I was like, what? She's sleeping.
Your hands did not
My
leave.
dad used to do that when I was little. I think I learned.
I know. I'm like, she's smart.
I was worried. I'm like, what's wrong with my dog?
Yeah, so you could do this for
I
a
was
long
just thinking,
time.
I bet hers has
You
more.
gotta squeeze it.
Yes.
I gotta squeeze more seriously.
Yes.
Like you're angry at it.
Okay.
Yes. You could punch it if you wanted.
Now's not the time for the pounder thing because I like the pounder
No,
thing.
now's not the time for that.
When we first did sauerkraut, we did it. We pounded because that's what the book
That's
says.
what the book says.
Ah,
That's what the book
see?
So, look, I'm starting. I don't know if you want to zoom in on this, but like, if you do this, I'm starting to get a little bit of liquid in the bottom. So, that's good. I want to get, I don't know, Hilda.
No, don't look at mine. Don't look at mine.
You need some help
I'm
over
still
there?
doing good. No, I'm doing good. This is all me. I'm trying.
This is more fun doing it with somebody than
Yeah, it's like a party. And don't you think, I think when I interviewed the woman who had the 3-stone hearth.
You have to do this while you're talking.
Okay, sorry.
Just kidding.
But anyway, when I interviewed Jessica Prentice, she said, food used to be made and prepared and eaten in community.
Yes.
Like it wasn't just 2 people in their home. It was like, let's say we're having this kind of party and then later we're going to roast the pig while somebody else watches the grandchildren. And it's like we're all together. And I think that's part of what's missing with our food, right? I'm making my little meal at my house. You're making your little meal at your house. And we're not connecting. So we need to do this more often. That's all I'm trying to say.
So, interesting that you said that. So you're extroverted, right? I'm not. I'm a little bit of an introvert. And so we, a few months ago said, because my husband is an extrovert and he would have people over here all the time. But I don't know if you're going to put this in your video. I'm just telling you a story. But my husband works from home. So I'm a teacher, so I'm around kids all day. So sometimes when I come home, I just need like a minute of peace and quiet.
Yeah.
But he's been home all day by himself, so he would just want people to be around. But so look at all this liquid I got going on here now. Let's see if I can pick it up. Yeah, pound it like that.
I'm
That's
trying,
good too.
just trying different things.
That's okay.
You're doing great, Hilda.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm doing the best
Just
I can.
squeeze it. Maybe we should give her the bigger bowl.
No, I think I'm doing fine.
So anyway, going back to my original story. So a couple months ago, we kind of made a deal that once a month we're going to have someone over for a meal. And you're our January meal.
Yay! I want to be February too.
That must mean that you liked it.
I did. Oh my gosh, you guys. we had split pea soup with the ham, the pork from their very own pigs. We had this chicken soup with chicken from their own chickens. I was like, I've died and gone to heaven. It was beautiful.
So you can even see, like, as you mash some liquid out, it changes color a little bit.
Yeah, I see that.
We should have gave you some sauerkraut for lunch.
Yeah, we have sauerkraut.
Oh, yeah.
Oops. It didn't really go with the soup, I guess, but...
Oh, and sourdough bread and butter. That was so good.
So I think I'm to the point where I might be able to take a little break. So once you get to about this much liquid, and sometimes it's hard to get it all off your hands, but once you get to about this much liquid, then you can kind of just pause and take a break and walk away from it for about a half an hour or so, and let nature do its thing. So I'm gonna go rinse my hands off. And
okay, I'll keep squeezing. I like how
or maybe clean up my mess. I have stuff everywhere.
I can't believe you've only been doing this since the summer.
Yeah,
like, you've got the hang of it so well.
Well, that's because I learned from someone who really knew their thing. So.
Right.
The first time you made it, I was away. I think I was away from work.
Yeah, the first time we did it, I didn't let it. I don't know, let's look in the Nourishing Traditions cookbook of what it says for how long to do it. Not to knock Sally Fallon.
No, not at all. I like how hers, it turned kind of different color like you said. Okay. Mine's still working on that.
So the first time we made it, I used the recipe from this cookbook. And they actually... Sally Fallon actually says to use whey in the recipe, which you really don't need. The only thing that whey does is it kind of starts that fermenting process if you didn't have the time to let it sit out. But all you have to do is make it and just stick it on your counter. Yeah, you just let it sit. And let's see here. If I know my alphabet. I was turning to F for ferment instead of sauerkraut. Okay.
I'm going to make sauerkraut snowballs.
I don't think that I want to say she only has it sitting for a couple of days. And
and so the whey expedites the process.
Yes. But I don't think...
Yeah, it takes like 2 weeks for it to get to the point where you just pour whey in.
But I honestly think, I love you, Sally, but I think the whey makes it taste a little bit different. So, yes, so... She says here, a tablespoon of salt, which is what we did. 4 tablespoons of whey, that's a lot of whey. If not available, use more salt. And then this says, cover tightly and keep at room temperature for 3 days. So I think that's, I think covering it tightly isn't the best.
Well, that's why it's important to only do 3 days there.
If you do it that, right. So... Anyway, they're just 2 different schools of thought.
Yeah.
I just like thinking, okay, if I'm sitting this on my counter for 7 weeks, think about like all the good bugs that are in that wouldn't be in it if it was only sitting for 3 days, you know?
Right. So longer, like you said, you can choose how long you want it to sit on the counter, but longer is better. In your book.
It's just different, I think. I think it's going to develop more of those probiotics if you let it sit longer. And then if you have one kraut that goes 7 weeks and one that goes 8 weeks, and you have a little bit of each of those, you're getting different health benefits from each of them. And here's what you do, right? This is so simple. Again, when I learned more about this from Rachel at the Sweet Farm, she's like, all you have to do is open it and taste it. And if you like it, then put it in the fridge. And if you don't like it yet, just leave it sit out longer. So simple, right?
So simple.
Just taste it as it goes along.
And then that magic point in time goes from salty cabbage to sauerkraut.
Exactly. And so that's like when I learned how to make kombucha, they encourage you to taste it every day along the process. So then all of a sudden one day you can taste, oh, this tastes different. And so I think that's why I think 7 weeks is that kind of magic number for us, because you can just taste that it's just different. And then it's also true though that like right now it's pretty cold outside, it might take longer than 7 weeks this time. But if it was summertime, it might take a little bit less than 7 weeks. It just depends on the temperature of your house. And something else we learned from making sourdough is that, we have bacteria floating around our house that you might not have in yours because you're fermenting something different, or maybe you're not making sourdough bread, that the process sometimes goes faster if you're fermenting things in your house because it's literally living in your house. Is that not crazy?
Wait, so the process goes faster in your own house?
If you've been fermenting things. So, for example, the woman that we learned how to do sourdough from, in her videos, she says, now my starter isn't going to take 10 hours to rise. Yours might take 10 because she makes sourdough all the time. So she has these bacteria floating through her house.
Just ready to go.
Ready to go because she does it all the time. And the more that you make it and the more that you do it, the more that those things are going to be in your own home.
Yeah, I mean, that sauerkraut is spitting out stuff
amazing.
Right.
Wow.
It's exhausting into our house.
That's really cool.
And do you want to know something else really crazy that I learned? I read this in Hannah Crumb's Big Book of Kombucha. Not that we're making kombucha now, but she said, be mindful if you are fermenting sauerkraut and you're also fermenting something else to keep them like separate in your house. She said she had someone who had kombucha and sauerkraut next to each other, and a SCOBY showed up in the sauerkraut.
Oh, that's so crazy. It's kind of creepy, actually.
It is a little bit creepy. So we kind of keep ours, like, it's not in different rooms, but it's just not sitting next to each other in the house. So, all right, why don't you do this and see if, like, hold it and then dip your bowl back to see if you have any liquid.
Just a little.
You're good. Okay, so just kind of dust your hands off, and we'll just let this sit for a little bit.
It's kind of addicting. I don't want to stop.
It feels good now.
Well, it's working right now.
Yeah, so we're going to let this sit for like a half an hour or so, and then come back to it, and that way it's going to make our jobs easier for the next step.
Perfect.
Cool?
Yes.
Okay.
So, did you guys see how hard I was working to make my kraut, like, turn into real kraut? Like, she was doing hers like that, and it took me forever. We figured out.
I have all this liquid.
And I had none, and I was like, what's happening? Like, what's happening to my muscle strength? What's up? And then we realized I had not put all of the salt in mine, which the salt does some of the work, right?
The salt does the work, yeah. You need the salt. So she added the salt, so she got some liquid in there, so we're good to go. Okay, so this sat for, I don't know.
At least half an hour.
Probably at least over an hour. Okay. So we're going to take this, and it's literally going to fit into this quart-sized mason jar, okay? So what I do is I just take a handful of it, okay? And I put some in, a little bit at a time. I mean, you can use a spoon if you want to, but, you know. So I'm going to put a little bit, and then I'm going to take this tamper, and then literally just, like, squish it down. And you'll see, as you start to squish it down,
more liquid comes out.
Exactly. So you're going to do that, and then we can trade back and forth. So do you see how there's, it's coming there? So I'll let you do it, and then I'll put another handful in mine, and then we can kind of just trade back and forth, and you're going to see all that liquid come out. And another thing that you can do, which we probably should have done this before we started doing this, is if you want to know if you're going to like it, you just taste it. So you can just literally just taste it right now. If you think it's not salty enough, then you can add more.
What do you think?
I think it's good.
Okay. I'll trust you.
Yeah.
I actually only like cabbage when it is fermented.
Well, that's like I just take a little bit of it because I know that it's like...
Not a big fan. Coleslaw, unless it's fermented, no.
But it's a good way just to test before you do all this work to make sure that you're gonna like it. See, look at all that.
Wow.
And then what we like to do is after we get all this,
see?
After we get all this in here, my recommendation is to keep any extra of this brine, the salt water that's in the bottom, because sometimes as it's sitting on the counter, you might need to add more to it. You might not, but
you don't want it to dry out. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, because if it dries out, that's when you could get mold. So this is now preserved, right? This is going to preserve this food. So if you do have a mistake where mold gets into it, you have to ask yourself, like, how do you feel about if there's a little bit of mold on your cheese? Are you the kind of person that would just cut it off and toss it and eat the rest of it? Or would you throw the whole thing away? And if you're fine with just cutting a little piece of mold off the corner of a cheese, piece of cheese, then you could just pull that mold off the top, and then the rest of it's still going to be good to go. So
because it's not throughout; it's just on the top.
Yeah. And so we can talk about ways to make sure that doesn't happen, because again, that's kind of a common mistake that can be made if it's the first time that you've done it.
And if I made a mistake with the salt, chances are I could make a mistake with something else.
You're fine.
Do you remember why you're packing it down each time, little by little?
No, to make more liquid come out.
Well, so you can make more room too. You can't.
Right.
If you put them all in there.
Oh yeah. Oh, why I'm doing a little at a time. Yeah. So you do a little at a time so that you can kind of ensure that you're going to fit it all in there.
It does pull more liquid out. Yeah. But it also helps you so you can fit out all the...
Yeah. See, hers is lower than mine, right?
You gotta push, use your strength, girl.
I gotta get taller, too.
Don't let it slip.
I know, I'm afraid of that. Oh, my gosh.
Gotta get you a sauerkraut jar holder.
Oh, you can get those?
I don't know, he's just making that up.
You can pretty much find a market for anything if you try hard enough.
That's also true.
Wow, look at all that liquid.
I know, amazing, right?
And it all came out of the cabbage.
Yeah.
Like
this is not added. This is all just from the cabbage.
Wow.
So Rachel just put one in the fridge the other day, and it didn't have any mold on it when we pulled it out of the corner. Right? Yeah. But the last couple did. So they sit out there for 8 weeks.
Because I think the top of this got clogged up.
Yeah.
I think I filled it too high. I did the other. I tried to put too much in there. I didn't learn from my mistakes. That looks so good.
I'm so excited.
You could also put onions or celery.
Oh, but I'm getting near the elbow, and you said...
Keep going. You're good.
I'm okay.
You're good.
So you could, the top inch is going to be liquid, so you can pour some liquid out. And put more cabbage in.
Yeah, we've done that too. Better like pack it down as much as you can.
And once it's to the right flavor and it's been out long enough, like you said, you can put it in the fridge and it'll keep fermenting, but at a slower pace.
Yes, much slower.
I need to get serious about this.
You can also kept working it in the bowl. If you keep working it in the bowl, it'll become more and more limp and more shriveled. More liquid will come out of it.
Easier to tamp down.
Yep.
I almost got it all in.
Yeah.
Hers was smaller than mine.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Those
that one was
cabbages
a little...
have been around and been sitting for.
Well, they keep relatively well, but I felt strongly that I wanted it from a local farm. That they were not going to be open from the last time I was there to when we were coming.
So you can pour some of that liquid right into the bowl there.
Yeah, I think that's what I need to do.
So you can tamp down some more.
This is a real cooking show over here.
Now, do you ever make extras to give to people and stuff?
I haven't. I think people don't want to eat this.
I do. I think there are people getting into it. You know?
I do too. I think that's just been a good.
Yeah, I feel like I tell Rachel this Wise Tradition food thing. I'm like, I don't think that I'm an early adopter. I feel like I'm more of an average, normal person. And if I'm starting to do this, then maybe more people are really starting to get on board.
I think that's what's happening, yeah. Because think about it. Like sauerkraut, not just sauerkraut, but kombucha and other like random drinks are being found in like Safeway. You know what I mean? Like regular grocery stores. And this wasn't the case even 10 years ago. So there's some kind of trend happening where people are caring about their gut health and understanding the connection between what we eat and how we feel. So.
Okay. So I think that's all I'm going to put in there. Unless you think I should dump some of the liquid out and put more food in there. What do you think?
I want to stop with mine.
Yeah, I think you guys both look good.
Think we're good? Okay. Alright, so we'll just put this in here. Look, you're really going to be tempted to want to put this extra stuff in there, but don't do it. Because so we could do that later. So you could get this and you could put it in like a smaller mason jar and do it, but for now, I don't want to put any more in here. If you want to try to get it like the food to the elbow and the liquid needs to be covering it. So something I didn't do that I've done before, that's kind of like a little hack. When you have the cabbage, like sometimes you'll peel off the outer layer if it doesn't look so good or whatever. You can take that and you can put the jar on top and then cut around it so that you have a little bit of a circle. And it's another way to keep the liquid down from the oxygen getting in it. You could just shove it on the top and then put this over top. Does
so
that
have
make
a cute
sense?
little cabbage top.
Exactly. So you could put the cabbage top on there, but I forgot before we did that. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to take this weight and look, because that level is going to rise too.
So that's a little too high.
It's a little too high. So I'm going to dump some of this stuff out. Yours looks perfect. So then you're going to take you're going to take your little airlock. Yes, you're going to take your little mini sombrero. I'm going to pour this out without making a mess. Yep. Okay. So you're going to take that, put it on top, and then you're going to take the band and you're going to put that on top, and then you're going to find a place to put this in your kitchen for 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
And I usually will take masking tape and just mark on it what date I started it, so I don't forget, or mark it on a calendar, because this could sit there. 7 weeks is a long time, and then you forget about it.
Totally forget about it.
So I'm going to do that, and then the other thing that I'm going to actually do is I'm going to take any excess liquid that's in here, and I'm going to pour it in a separate jar, and I'll keep that in the fridge. One, because it's good for you, and two, just in case I need to add some to this later. For some reason, if there's some mistake and air gets in here, then I can add the liquid to it, and it's salty, not just adding water.
But because of this cute little top, we don't have to like burp it or anything that sometimes people do.
You can't, like, if you notice that this gets clogged, like if you fill it too high, it could get clogged, and you might have to just pinch it a little bit, and you'll be good to go. But other than that, the only other thing is if you make it too salty. So there's a way to fix that too. If you, after that 7 weeks, you taste it and realize it's way too salty, all you have to do is take some of the brine. I wouldn't dump it out. I would dump it into a separate jar just in case you overcompensate the other way, and you can just add some water to it.
Oh, okay.
And it'll help it if it's too salty. And then if you do too much water and realize not enough, you can add that brine back in to make it, to kind of balance that out. Does that make sense?
Yes. And what if someone in the family is like, they see it after 3 weeks and they're like, I'm hungry, I want some, and they just take some out of there?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure you could.
Okay. You can eat cabbage.
I know you can eat it, but it's not the same. It's not going to be completely fermented.
It won't be.
It won't be, but it's still starting today, because you've broken that cell wall of that cabbage. It's already like being preserved right now.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
Well,
good job.
I was going to do cheers.
Oh yeah, we could do a cheers too. Yay.
Thank you.
All right. That's how to make sauerkraut. That's it.